Hey folks, Tuesday night was the second and final episode of Knockout Rounds on Season 3 of The Voice. I know I am super tardy with this review. I do have a good excuse though. I just haven't thought of it yet. No, hopefully next week I'll be more prompt, but with the presidential election coming up next week, The Voice and the X Factor are going to be on the same night, so I can't promise anything, but I'm going to try. Anyway, Tuesday night was the knockouts from Team Christina and Team Blake. First up was Team Christina. What was up with the colorful hair? Didn't Britney Spears wear that same hairstyle on X Factor a couple of weeks ago? I don't think it really much matters. I think The Voice was probably filmed before the X Factor was this time around. I think this is finally part of the Christina and Britney rivalry that Christina Aguilera is going to win. So anyway, first up was Team Christina and her band of merry screamers. First up was Devyn Delora and Laura Vivas. Devyn sang I have nothing because she said she would have nothing if she didn't have this show. Well, that's being a little overdramatic, isn't it? She has plenty of things. She has life, she has liberty, she's very pretty, and she has a name that sounds like the time machine from Back to the Future. Oh, wait, that's the DeLorean, isn't it? Anyway, one thing she does not have is the pipes to pull off this song. Well, she almost pulled it off, but with these big songs, I always say almost is not good enough. It would be good enough for a wedding, or a low-budget wedding, but nobody would pay money to hear it. I don't know why you would choose that song anyway, and the way Devyn dropped to her knees was a little bit dramatic and desperate for me. Laura Vivas sang Mark Anthony's Need to Know in English and in Spanish. She was sassy and she put on a much better show than Devyn did, but I don't think she sounded very good. Cee Lo said it was one of the best performances that he's ever seen. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I think I would have gone with Laura. But after beating around the bush by saying that she wasn't going to beat around the bush, Christina went with Devyn. Next up was Adriana Louise and Celica Westbrooke. Why do so many people on Christina's team have names that sound like cars? Last it was DeLorean, and now it's Celica. Who's next? Jeep Grand Cherokee? Quick, raise your hand if you thought for a nanosecond that Christina was going to send Adriana packing. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Adriana's song choice was Kelly Clarkson's Already Gone, so she could show the softer side of herself into a ballad. It sounded exactly like I expected from her. Wide open pretty much the whole time. Exactly what Christina is looking for. Celica Westbrooke sang Justin Bieber's Never Say Never. Well, she said she wanted a song that would show her age. I think maybe she overthought that one, but she didn't oversing it, so it was okay by me. I thought it was pretty good right up until the end when she tried to scream and yelp. But she didn't scream and yelp through the whole thing, so I would have picked her. We all knew, though, Christina was going to pick Adriana. Poor Celica was heartbroken. Christina said, "Don't hate me." Fat chance of that. Maybe it's just me, but if Christina Aguilera sent me packing, I would resent her for the rest of my life. Next up was Allesandra, Gracia, and Dez Duron. Allesandra was one of the girls that Christina stole from somebody, I can't remember who. She's the girl that was prepped for superstardom at the Fame School, and I would imagine the Fame School has like an assembly line where they pump out one generic performer right after the other. Allesandra sang Rihanna's Take a Bow, and she did a perfectly fine job with it, but I didn't believe her. I did believe Dez when he sang Stuck on You. I just wish he would stop singing like Count Dracula. I mean, I would understand if he was like French or Swedish, but isn't he from Louisiana? I don't know. Anyways, I still like Dez's face better than I like his voice, but I would have gone with him. Surprise, surprise, that's exactly who Christina went with. Next up was Chevonne and Deborah, Battle of the One-Namers. Chevonne sang Dancing With Myself, and she sure did plenty of that. This is the kind of song that a maniac would pick to sing, because a song like this really doesn't make any sense if you're trying to win. But she said that she picked this song to have fun. I'm guessing she already knew she wasn't going to win. Well, she has to know that she was the luckiest person in the whole competition to make it as far as she did. The only reason that she made it past the auditions is because Cee Lo had an empty spot that he needed to fill pretty quick at the last minute. And then she made it past the battle rounds because Christina had to use her last steal and there were no acts left. Deborah, on the other hand, is one of the most unique and popular members of Christina's team. She sang You Found Me, and it was really good. I just wonder if she can perform without hunkering down like a football player. I like her, though. Obviously, Christina chose Deborah. Well, we all knew she was going to, and we all knew she was itching to get rid of Chevonne ever since she was forced to steal her from, Cee Lo. Yeah, it was Cee Lo. Cee Lo said he'd love to have either one of them on his team. Chevonne had to remind him that she was on his team, and I think she holds a grudge. And the last of Team Christina was Aquile and Sylvia Yacoub. Aquile sang Grenade. I'm not sure if it was a wise song choice. I think Bruno Mars is becoming like the new Adele in that his songs are getting so overdone on these singing shows. People don't really sing much Adele anymore, do they? I think they're all singing Bruno Mars, and I'm getting pretty tired of it. So yeah, he did a fine job with it. I guess it's just so hard to have an impact with a Bruno Mars song these days. So I was pretty bored with it. Sylvia Yacoub kissed up to Christina by singing Fighter. Doesn't Christina get, like, royalties when somebody sings one of her songs? But isn't it a conflict of interest? I don't think it much matters anyway. Nobody's going to be paying for Sylvia's version anytime soon. She butchered it. She sounded just a mess, but apparently kissing Christina's ass worked because she went with Sylvia. That was the only kind of surprise of the night for me. I thought she loved Aquile, and picking him would have given her a bit more variety on her team. She already had 2 over-singing young ladies, so I don't know. Oh, the coaches took an opportunity to make sport of Randy Jackson, which is always a fun thing to watch. Next, over to Team Blake. First up is Gracia Harrison and Liz Davis. Blake only wanted one country girl on his team. I remember back in the auditions, the coaches told yodeler Gracia Harrison that she was the best country singer they'd ever had on the show. So choosing to sing I Don't Want to Miss a Thing was about the dumbest decision she ever could have made. I think there was a country version of it, too, back in the day. I seem to remember there being, because it was on the radio all the time. There was Aerosmith, and then there was, I don't know, Mark Chestnut? Somebody, I don't know. Anyway, most people hate that song, and this ain't the time to prove that you can sing something other than country. Bad song choice aside, she sounded pretty nervous. I didn't like it at all. Liz Davis decided to kiss Blake's butt again by singing one of his wife's songs. Again. She sang a Miranda song at her audition, too. I gotta say, I really wish Miranda Lambert would come out with some new music so we can stop hearing these 2 or 3 wore-out songs every single time a country girl wants to prove that she can be a badass. That being said, though, Liz gave a much better performance than Gracia, so it was no surprise that Blake went with her. Next, it was Rudy Parris and Terry McDermitt, the man with the beautiful hair and the man with a hideous mullet. Rudy's song choice was Chris Brown's Forever. What was Grandpa thinking with this song choice? Blake suggested that he try to tap into the song's young energy, but all the energy in the world isn't going to make him young again. Instead of using the song to try to make himself young, he should have tried to make the song sound old. He sounded fine, but it just didn't work. I didn't believe him, and the manic faces that he was making, it was kind of strange. Terry, on the other hand, picked the perfect song for him. Maybe I'm Amazed was the best that we've seen of him, and he did a great job with it. Now, if he'd do something with that old head of his, I'd be pretty happy with him. Of course, Blake went with Terry McMullet. Next up was Collin McLoughlin and Micheala Page. Remember, Collin's the guy that dropped out of school when he was almost finished and threw his life away on the long shot that he might get famous one day. Then he got stolen by Blake after Adam dropped him in the battle rounds. He sang Break Even, and I really like his voice. I kind of wish he would have picked an older song, though, and something without so much falsetto would have probably been a good idea. I think he's got this kind of, I don't know, James Taylor vibe about him. Even though I hate James Taylor, I kind of like Collin. I knew it was going to be an uphill battle for him, though, going against Micheala, because you just knew she was going to make it. She sang Love is a Battlefield, and she kind of mopped the floor. She was once again fantastic, and she's a more exciting performer, even though her look is a little gimmicky. I think she really could do well, so it was no surprise that Blake chose her. Well, he used Collin screwing up the falsetto as an excuse, but I'm convinced he already made his mind up. Next up was Julio Castillo and MarissaAnne. Julio sang Justin Bieber's Somebody to Love. In rehearsal, seeing him next to Blake, he looked about as tiny as Justin Bieber. How old is he, like 12? That is a compact little man. I don't know, he did an okay job, I guess. It just wasn't very compelling to watch. MarissaAnne, on the other hand, had a really good performance with Lady Marmalade. She even got a standing ovation from Christina Aguilera, but that's probably because she used to be on Christina's team, so it didn't really mean anything. She was definitely the better of the two, though, and she seems to have much better control of her voice than any of them girls on Christina's band of merry screamers, so it didn't make a lick of sense when Blake went with Julio. Well, he said it was because he had more time invested in Julio. Well, no feces, Sherlock. Of course you did. Then what is the point in having the steal if you're going to go with the people that you had more time invested in? You're going to have more time invested in anybody that you stole, dummy. And the last of the night was Susanna Chaffel and Cassidy Pope. Now, during the battle rounds, I suggested that Cassidy might not survive the knockout round since her battle was reduced to a snippet, and that's how it often goes. Well, excuse me for breathing. Y'all wouldn't believe some of the nasty messages I got for saying that. Apparently, I am a fat fag that doesn't deserve to live. I had no idea. So yeah, some of Cassidy's fans are pretty rabid. I think I'd like to lock them up in a closet with Melanie's fans and just let them eat each other. Anyway, I really would have enjoyed Cassidy's performance of Maroon 5's Payphone If it hadn't been for the machine gun vibrato, that just killed me. Sometimes I can put up with a little over-the-top vibrato, but hers is like constant, and it ruined it for me. Susannah Chevelle, on the other hand, she sang a Bob Marley song. I don't even know which one. But, you know, a Bob Marley song is not a good idea. She said the song didn't have any good vocal moments. Well, then why did you pick it? Of course, nobody ever believed for a nanosecond that Susannah Chevelle was going to make it to the live show, so it was pretty much a wash. So anyway, that was it for this week. I think the show is on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. And X Factor is on Wednesday and Thursday, so it's going to be a tough couple of nights for me, but I'm going to try to pull it off. Leave me a comment down in the comment section and let me know what you thought about the show. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Come be my Facebook friend. And I'll see you folks when I see you.